Hi, it's Sharon, the Enterprise Architect Coach. Today I would like to share with you some of the top 10 questions that enterprise architects ask me. And to get started, I'm probably going to, we'll go into the one that I think is probably the most common, and that is, how do I become an enterprise architect? Well, there's a few things that you're going to need to know, and one of them is understanding the role of the enterprise architect. You need to know, what kinds of roles you're going to play, and there's various. You're going to play the role of a leader, you're going to play the role of a presenter, a communicator, a technologist, an analyst, but there's going to be lots of things that you're going to have to do, and you're going to need to know how to do them like an enterprise architect would. The most common description I can give you is one in that you will align with the leaders and various business resources in your company, as well as technologists, to build an enterprise view of what the organization's strategy, their business requirements, their processes, the information, as well as the infrastructure assets that your company needs to run. So you're also going to need to know what kind of skills that are going to be required of you, and you are going to want to make sure that you actually have those skills. So first of all, ask yourself, how strong are your soft skills? These are the skills in leadership, presentation, communication, analysis, your political savviness, your ability to manage up or down. Also, how well and how quickly can you make decisions? Architecture decisions aren't necessarily all made quickly, but you are going to have to be a very good decision maker, and you're going to have to know the value of a structured decision and how you would consistently do this, as well as to document it. Finally, you're going to want to know how well, or how judge yourself for how well you can think conceptually. Enterprise architecture is very conceptual in nature because you are visualizing the future, typically things anywhere between 6, 12, 18 months out, and hopefully as far as 3 years out. So you're going to have to put conceptual pictures together and be able to move forward without having all of the answers. You also really need to ask yourself, do I have an enterprise perspective? So have I often thought of projects? How well have I ever thought of everybody involved? So all the departments, all of the rules, all of the customers when making a technology decision or a decision impacting the business. Now, here's a question you really should ask yourself. Do I have the desire to do this job? Ask yourself, how well do I like documenting things? Because at the end of the day, you are going to have to write down, or at least have somebody else help you to get captured what your decisions are, what your models look like, what the actual vision is, as well as the conversations and the meetings that you have. So of course these all require documentation. I also did include that magic M word, it's that meetings word. And as an enterprise architect, you are going to attend an awful lot of meetings. Depending on how well you balance it, it may be as full-time, or it will be at most half-time, but you're going to have to manage that for yourself and learn ways to do that. How do you feel about influencing without authority? Because you don't have the power. You don't have the mighty sword or the big hammer that says thou shalt use this technology. You're going to have to collaborate with an awful lot of people. You're going to have to consider your budgets, as well as the capabilities and the skills of those around you who will use the technologies before you make your decisions. And so you're going to have to lose an awful lot in the area of power of influence versus actually command. And finally, you're going to have to consider, how am I going to go and become this EA? That's the end of the question. And I've documented some of the top questions you might ask yourself about your fitness for this role. And I put them in a checklist at the back of one of the chapters in my book, Zoom Factor for the Enterprise Architect. And these are things like, I have already created a vision for myself and my career. I've created an elevator speech about what the enterprise architecture program looks like. I've practiced it at least 20 times. I'm comfortable getting up in front of a whiteboard and speaking to people, or drawing the vision and diagrams that I have. I'm comfortable speaking to those that are above me as well as below me. And I hate to use that analogy, but you're managing up to upper and middle management, sometimes executives, as well as the people that are on the teams, the project teams, or in the line teams below you. You actually have the technical skills to become an enterprise architect, the soft skills, you have the desire to become an enterprise architect, and I'm motivated to learn and practice the process of doing enterprise architecture. Finally, I'm interested in the business of this company. And if you're not interested in the business, I would recommend that this is just not a good role for you. Business becomes a bigger part of this than, in an awful lot of ways, than the actual technology, because everything needs to be for the business and creating value for the business. So I hope that I've shared a little bit more information for you about how you would become an EA, but I guess I should finalize that with how do you get trained as an enterprise architect. You should attend some sort of formal training. Of course, I can talk to the one that I offer and have been offering for 13 years, and that's called the Enterprise Architect Bootcamp. I offer it in a manner in which you learn the theoretical, the basis of the types of things you need to do every day, day to day, the role, the skills, and as well some of the practical knowledge by actually doing some of the exercises that you would do as an enterprise architect. You're going to find some other trainings that are aligned with organizations out there. An example might be TOGAF training that is ideally designed for IT architects, not necessarily enterprise architects. But you're going to find those kinds of trainings a little bit more readily available because it has become a bit of a commercial business in offering those trainings. You may find some of the older training, and that is that from John Zachman and the Zachman training, or the Ziffa Institute. Finally, how do you actually grow into this role, or how do you become an enterprise architect? And I'll just leave you one little tip that I leave a lot of detail on in my book, and that is try to find yourself some growth assignments. That is volunteering, stepping up to help the existing enterprise architects in your business, whether it's helping them with current state architecture, or modeling, or collecting information, whether it's being on a project that has a business or solution nature, and then wrapping that back to what the enterprise vision is, maybe interacting with the enterprise architects, or if you don't have this role, bringing this forward to some of your management to talk about the enterprise and the impacts to the enterprise. And that's just a small subset of some of the things that you can do to practice and get experience in being the enterprise architect before you actually have that official capacity. Take care and see you next time.